Achieving your goals isn't just about defining them and then working the original plan till the end. Every once in a while, you need to check on your progress and see if you need to make any course corrections. Because we've reached the middle of the year, this is a good opportunity to go back and check on those goals that you may have defined for yourself earlier this year. Remember those? How are you doing on them thus far? Have you needed to make any adjustments? Did you run into some obstacles and have to take some detours? Using your Clifton Strengths or your Gallup StrengthsFinder results for this process ensures that you're being true to what's best and what's most natural to you, not getting distracted by what somebody else says is the best approach. You can certainly learn from others' successes, but for something to be sustainable for you in the long run, you have to do things in a way that fits who you are and fuels you in the process. There are a lot of ways to review and reevaluate your goals and your progress towards them. In this video, I'm solely going to stick to topics that have to do with using your Clifton Strengths results and applying a strengths-based approach to that process. And though I'm using the mid-year as an excuse to create this video, I'm going to keep the topics general enough so that you can revisit the content for any goal anywhere you are in your timeline. And while you're watching this video and thinking about plans, progress, and goals, have you thought about your own plans for your own growth, development, and training? How are you going to keep learning and sharpening your talents and strengths? I invite you to check out the links in the description of this video. Whether for you individually or as part of a group or team, I offer different programs focused on Clifton Strengths-based training and coaching, including live workshops and an online course that goes deep in how to use your StrengthsFinder results. It goes much more in depth than the content that I cover in these videos, including examples, exercises, and bonus content. If you're interested in the online course or working with me, I invite you to check out the links in the description and reach out to me directly. So to review your goals and progress, the very first step is to re-evaluate your goal. Now, this may sound silly, but things change. Not only do circumstances change, but you change in the process of working towards your goal. It doesn't matter what it is, whether you're working on a project, learning something new, starting a new job, starting a new business, saving money, losing weight, getting in shape, taking a relationship to a different level. It doesn't matter what it is. Fantasizing about what you thought something would be is very different than living it. So before we jump into evaluating your approach, let's look at your original goal. Why do you want that particular goal? Not why would somebody want that particular goal? Why do you want that particular goal? And is it something that you still want? Or is it something that you chose because you felt like it was something you should do? This is really important. Really listen to yourself, because the only answer that matters is your own. There's so many people in the world who have defined their goals based on what they felt that they should do or based on what they thought would be safe or secure. And they're waking up decades later wondering, what did they do with their lives? And I admit it, I was one of them. But if you were to look at Bronnie Ware's book on the top 5 regrets of the dying, Bronnie states that the #1 regret that people say is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So no matter what your goal is, the first thing to consider is whether or not you have the right goal for you. There's no point in going through the process if you don't have your true desired destination. There are 3 possibilities here. One is that your original goal is still right for who you are. Perfect, that's a good opportunity for you to move on to the other points in this video. 2, it could be that your goal needs some adjustment. It's good that you're doing this review. It gives you an opportunity to adjust your goal and your approach moving towards it. Or 3, you may be discovering that your original goal is no longer right for you. There's absolutely no shame in that. In fact, it's better for you to discover that sooner rather than later. It's good that you're doing this review. What's going to be best for you is for you to invest your energy and focus on topics that are gonna work you towards goals that are right for who you are or who you want to be. Either way, you still may wanna check out the other topics in the rest of this video to help you as you define your new direction. Now that you've gotten clear on your goals, let's see how you're doing. What progress have you made thus far? And if you haven't made any, no judgment. How many people stop going to the gym by the second week of the new year? This is simply a review, so if this is a goal that you still want, simply dust yourself off and get back in the saddle. There's still plenty of opportunity to adjust your approach and reach your goals, or at least make significant progress towards them. In reviewing your approach, there are two factors to look at. One is, what are your outcomes thus far? And two, what is your approach? Meaning, what are you doing to achieve those outcomes? The approach focuses on the how, and I'm gonna be more specific. How do these hows, meaning how do your approaches, tie back to your Clifton Strengths results or your Clifton Strengths talent themes? Think about it. How do your natural patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving tie to the approach you're choosing to take to reach your outcomes? Are you getting successful outcomes, seeing progress? Are you on track? Then fantastic. Keep that up. You may still want to experiment with the other topics in this video to up-level your progress. But if you find that you're not quite where you hoped you would be, or you're behind schedule or off track altogether, again, no judgment. This is simply a progress report, right? Like, we're just checking where you're at. Here's an opportunity to adjust your approach, course correct, and get back on track. If you're off track, it's possible that you're using your talent themes on autopilot mode, meaning simply just going through the motions. You may be unintentionally directing your talents towards your weaknesses or your basements. I talk a little bit about this in my video of Clifton Strengths balconies and basements. You may want to check out that video to understand that each talent theme is really a continuum where there's two sides, right? One is your basements or more of your weaknesses if you're not being very intentional. The other's leading more towards your strengths or balconies. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Either way, all we're really doing in this step is taking an objective look at your approach, looking at what are the outcomes that you've gotten thus far and how are the approaches that you're taking to get those outcomes working for you. Are adjustments needed on either side? Now, I want to emphasize that a strengths-based approach focuses on what's going right. Conventional thinking focuses on what's going wrong. It focuses on weaknesses and fixing them. But fixing weaknesses avoids failure. That's not the same thing as leading you to success. A strengths-based approach focuses on strengths and manages weaknesses. Notice I didn't say ignores weaknesses. That's a common myth. A strengths-based approach manages weaknesses. What it doesn't do is it doesn't put the focus on the weakness. So what you really want to do is emphasize what's going right. Where are your strengths? Where are your possibilities? People get discouraged because they focus on where they are versus where they want to be. They look at the distance between the two and they look at it as either a weakness or a failure, and they end up giving up too soon. What I really want to emphasize here about a strengths-based approach is to keep your eyes on where you want to go. Where do you want to be? Any growth or progress is forward momentum towards your goal. You want to keep that up. You want to grow any positive momentum that you have going for you. And while you're doing that, keep in mind, notice any patterns of thought, feeling, or behavior that are working in your favor. You want to build the momentum on that as well. If you're not as far as you'd like to be, it's possible that you're working against yourself in a different way. I talk a little bit about this here in this video on using your Clifton Strengths results to identify your specific needs. See, people don't often think about their needs. So if they don't think about their needs, if they're not aware of them, how can they ensure that they're met along the way? See, each one of your talent themes has its own needs. And just as your top 5 talent mix, your specific combination identifies you as 1 in 33.4 million, your mix of needs is equally as unique. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't expect yourself to achieve the same results under the exact same conditions. If your needs aren't being met, it could be that you're frustrated or exhausted or even worse. There's no way that you can sustainably achieve or move forward on low energy. Take advantage that your Clifton Strengths results reveal your specific needs. If you watch the video that I referred to earlier, it includes a link to a resource where I list the needs per talent theme. You can look up your specific needs based on your talent theme mix. The next topic to consider is to get an outside perspective. Now let me be clear here. Pick someone who you trust, who appreciates you for who you are and how you are, not somebody who thinks that you should do things their way. Because let's face it, you're biased in your perspective and how you see things, and you also have blind spots. If you're not quite where you want to be and you're open to suggestions from others who have a different talent mix than you, then discuss your goals and progress with others. They may be able to give you insight or ideas that you wouldn't have seen on your own, or they may be able to suggest other tools, resources, people that you never even knew about, having that outside perspective. Or you may find that asking the right person can help you bridge your talent gaps. There are going to be certain things that are just not natural to you. It's possible that asking somebody for help to do the things that are more natural to them can help you bridge your talent gaps. And it could be a way for you to actually manage your weaknesses. Again, we're not ignoring them, we're managing them. So maybe that outside help is one of the ways to do that. Just remember to be true to who you are. That's a big part of Clifton Strengths work. You can take input from others, but be sure to then check in with yourself. Do their suggestions, does the approach you're going to take still feel true to who you are or who you want to be, how you want to do things? I certainly want to encourage you to grow and stretch. Just don't let anybody discourage you altogether. Remember what I mentioned earlier about what the author Bronnie Ware said about the top 1 regret of the dying. The best way to change your outcomes is to change your approach. Usually people lead with the exact same talents or the same talent theme combinations or the same strengths for the same tasks. All of your talent themes are natural to you. So what would happen if you started using your talent themes differently? What if you led with different talent themes? Could that be a way to manage your weaknesses? So let's say you typically lead with talent themes 1, 2, and 4. They're usually the ones that dominate your approach. What would happen if you considered talent themes 3 or 5? Or if you know your top 10 talent themes, what would happen if you led with themes 7, 8, or 10? It would give you a different approach. What new perspectives, what new options, what new opportunities would open up to you if you were approaching these same tasks, but leading with different talent themes? Intentionally choosing which talent themes you're leading with is a powerful strategy within Clifton Strengths. You're going from passively knowing your results to intentionally directing how you're using your talent themes. It's going to take some experimenting with different talent themes and different talent theme combinations, but the more you do it, it's going to open new opportunities and potentially new strengths you would have never considered before. No matter what your goals are, I encourage you to persist. Don't let yourself get discouraged about where you may be, or don't let yourself get discouraged about what others may say or think. Reviewing your progress is a great opportunity to adjust your approach. Take advantage of what you're learning about yourself through your Clifton Strengths results. It's possible that you can use that knowledge to make some effective adjustments to your approach to really help you as you're moving towards your goals. Your results don't define you and they don't limit you. And depending on how you use them, you direct them, you apply them, it could be that you start discovering new strengths that you didn't even know were possible for you. I want to wish you the best as you move forward towards your goals. I want to thank you for joining me in this video. If you want to learn more on how to apply your Clifton Strengths or your StrengthsFinder results, I invite you to check out these videos here. Again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.